In a gambling den modeled after Dante's Inferno, danger spins with every bet. A young woman spirals into ruin, seduced by booze, jealousy, and the thrill of the wheel. And behind it all, a vengeful mother waits, plotting payback decades in the making. This movie isn't just film noir, it's a descent into hell with silk gloves. Hello to all the classic people that are returning. I'm glad you're back. I want to welcome any new visitors and let you know that there will be spoilers ahead. Today on Classic Movie Review, we are taking on film noir, The Shanghai Gesture, 1941. Directed by Joseph von Sternberg, this little-known film noir is a bundle of tension. Walter Huston is in his prime in this film. This is one of the most complex roles I have ever seen Victor Mature undertake. Ona Munson plays the Chinese former prostitute and gambling hall owner to the hilt. But the most amazing part of the film is the transition of Gene Tierney's character, Poppy, as she is destroyed by gambling, booze, and jealousy. The physical changes are marked, but the actress carries the changes extremely well. This film was set in a gambling hall rather than a brothel, as in the original play. It would have worked a little better if opium were more involved. However, they had to work around the censors. The Hayes office had the director fix over 30 cuts in the movie. This movie has a rating of 6.8 on IMDb.com. However, I believe it should be significantly higher. This film has 100% on the tomato meter and has 71% audience approval on RottenTomatoes.com. However, the film is listed as being released in 1942 on that site. Variety said, quote, Victor Mature, as the matter-of-fact Arab despoiler of tyranny's honor, provides a standout performance. Huston's abilities are lost in the jumble, while Munson cannot penetrate the mask-like makeup arranged for her characterization, unquote. Dennis Schwartz of Ozusis Movie Reviews said, quote, Joseph von Sternberg's last great Hollywood film is based on a 1925 play by John Colton that required over 30 revisions ordered by the Breen office censors before it was deemed acceptable. In one unreleased censored version attributed to writer Jules Furthman, the blemished Norrish character named Mother Ginsling is instead called Mother Goddamn and runs a brothel instead of a casino. What remains from all the cuts is the surreal Baroque setting, a gesture to the descent of mankind into the bowels of the earth, a casino designed like Dante's Inferno, unquote. Actors. Gene Tierney was amazing as Poppy/Victoria. Tierney was first covered in the film noir Laura 1944 and is known for several other film noirs such as Leave Her to Heaven 1945, there's a link below, Whirlpool 1950, Where the Sidewalk Ends 1950, Night in the City 1950, and other great films like The Razor's Edge 1946, there's a link in the description, Dragon Witch 1946, and the amazing spectral romance The Ghost and Mrs. Muir 1947. Maria Openskaya played the old Amma. Of course, we remember her as Bella the Werewolf's mother in The Wolfman 1941, and there's a link for that below. Her silent slinking around works very well in this film. Walter Huston was cast in the role of Sir Guy Charteris, and I must say, he's a tall drink of water. I'm used to Walter Huston from Yankee Doodle Dandy 1943 and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre 1948, and there's a link for that below. Huston was born in 1883 in Canada. He originally studied engineering, but he loved theater work, even though he suffered from stage fright. He married Ray Gore, the mother of John Huston, in 1905, and then returned to engineering for a time. But the call of the stage was too much for him, and he returned to theater work in 1909. Huston made his debut on Broadway in 1924. He continued to work on Broadway until the late 1920s when he began acting for the New Talkies. Some of the earlier films were The Virginian 1929 and D.W. Griffith's Abraham Lincoln 1930. Other roles during the early period include The Beast of the City 1932 with Jean Harlow. Many people believe this was his greatest role. Other notable movies include Frank Capra's American Madness 1932 and W. Somerset Maugham's Rain 1932, which is essentially a remake of Sadie Thompson 1928 starring Joan Crawford. He was cast as the president who is taken over by an angel in Gabriel Over the White House 1933. Huston was nominated for a Best Actor Oscar for his work in the William Wyler directed Dodsworth 1936, a role he had played on Broadway in 1934. He continued to work in film and theater. He had a very small role as a ship captain that delivered the Blackbird to Sam Spade's, Humphrey Bogart's, office before being killed off in the John Huston, his son, directed The Maltese Falcon 1941, and there's a link for that below. And the bird's right here, I found it. In what is clearly my second favorite role of his, Huston played Mr. Scratch, aka The Devil, in The Devil and Daniel Webster 1941. He was great as the smirking trickster, and the movie was great with Edward Arnold and Simone Simon. For this role, Huston received another Best Actor Oscar nomination. Huston was nominated for a Best Supporting Actor Oscar in the musical Yankee Doodle Dandy 1942. Of course, when acting, singing, and dancing with James Cagney and Joan Leslie, it's hard not to be in a supporting role. Eventually, he made it to The Treasure of the Sierra Madre 1948, and there's a link for that. And again, he was directed by his son, John Huston. I have to say, he was amazing in this role as the elderly prospector with his happy gold dance and life-saving skills. For this film, Walter Huston won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar, and he richly deserved it. His acceptance speech is often quoted and goes as follows, quote, many years ago, many years ago, I brought up a boy and I said to him, son, if you ever become a writer, try to write a good part for your old man sometimes. Well, by cracky, that's what he did. Unquote. Walter Huston died at the age of 67 in 1950. I'll give some relationship notes. He was the grandfather of Angelica Huston, John's daughter. Walter, John, and Angelica all won Oscars. Walter was in 3 films directed by his son John, The Maltese Falcon 1941, This Is Our Life 1942, and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre 1948. Victor Mature played Dr. Omar, who was basically a seducer of women for profit. Mature was born in Kentucky in 1913. His father was an Italian tinker, and his mother was of Swiss descent. He worked as a butcher's supply salesman and later attended the Kentucky Military Academy. Mature was 6'2", pretty ripped, and had curly black hair. He decided to become an actor and began studying at the Pasadena Playhouse. Mature's first movie was The Housekeeper's Daughter 1939. He made other films such as No No Nanette 1940 and 1 Million BC 1940 before being called to serve in World War II as part of the Coast Guard. He regularly acted through the 1950s. His best category was sword and sandals, or as I like to say, tights and fights, but he hit most genres. Other movies include the film Noir, I Wake Up Screaming 1941, The Shanghai Gesture 1941, Western My Darling Clementine 1946, film Noir Kiss of Death 1947, film Noir Cry of the City 1948, Fury at Furnace Creek 1948, epics like Samson and Delilah 1949, Androcles and the Lion 1952, swimming movie $1 Million Mermaid 1952, where he allegedly had an affair with swimmer Esther Williams, the very stiff film Noir The Vegas Story 1952, the biblical epic The Robe 1953, film noir Dangerous Mission 1954, set mostly in Glacier National Park, Demetrius and the Gladiator 1954, Chief Crazy Horse 1955, film noir Pickup Alley 1957, and Hannibal 1959. Mature retired in 1960, but occasionally popped up in films like the LSD-inspired The Monkees movie Head 1968. His final film was Mature died in 1999. Ona Munson played the bar and gambling den owner, Mother Jen Sling. Munson was born in Oregon in 1903. She worked in radio before switching to film in 1928. She appeared in numerous Broadway plays in the 1930s and 40s. Within her 29 credits are 2 roles for which she is most known. In both of these roles, she played a brothel madam. These are Gone with the Wind 1939, where she played Belle Watling, and of course, the other is our movie today, The Shanghai Gesture 1941, where she played Mother Ginsling, but was mostly disguised as a gambling hall owner. Plagued by poor health, Munson took her own life using sleeping pills in 1955. Mike Mazurki played an interesting role as the Coolie. Mazurki was born in 1907 in the Austro-Hungarian Empire in what is now Ukraine. He stood 6 feet 5 inches tall. He was a professional football player and a wrestler. Mazurki was a very intelligent man who spent almost 50 years playing hulking brutes. Mazurki began making films in the 1930s, but his first credited film was the movie we are discussing today. He is perhaps best known for his role as Moose Malloy in the film noir Murder My Sweet 1944, and there's a link for that. Other films include New Orleans Uncensored 1955, A Bit in the Buccaneer 1958, Some Like It Hot 1959, Donovan's Reef 1963 with John Wayne and Lee Marvin, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World 1963, Cheyenne Autumn 1964, and tributes like Dick Tracy 1990. Mazurki died at the age of 83 in 1990. Story. The movie begins, and they actually give credit to the extras who were numerous. The action begins in the town of Shanghai, China, and the text describes it as a Tower of Babel that will likely be consumed by war. The coolest and most relaxed Sikh ever is directing traffic, most of which is on foot. As an automobile comes down the road, the police are dragging a blonde woman followed by some merchants. In the car is Dr. Omar, Victor Mature, who is wearing a fez and giving the impression of being from the Middle East. His companion is the Comprador, Montgomery Howell, Clyde Fillmore, who dresses in Chinese attire. Omar decides the woman is his as he saw her first. Montgomery goes to talk to the police, and Omar talks to the woman who is the chorus girl, Dixie Pomeroy, Phyllis Brooks. She is being arrested for failing to pay her hotel bill.
I ran out of whatever they use around here for money.
That's serious.
Montgomery pays everyone off, and Dixie leaves in the car with the two men. They take her to Mother Jinsling's casino, and Omar says the boss is cold-blooded and will devour her like a dragon. The casino is modeled after Dante's Inferno, with the largest gambling ring on the top and the smaller ring with the most intense gambling at the bottom. They have a jewel appraiser working in the money cage. One of the men at the table tries to pawn a ring, but it is rejected. He then tries to sell his pistol. They refuse to take the gun. The loot is lifted by a basket to the counting room at the top. A very beautiful woman, Poppy, G. Tierney, comes to the bar with her escort, John Abbott. Omar spots her right away. Poppy is bored and looking for excitement. She even says the casino is evil. She loves it and sees Omar across the floor.
I say he is marvelous. Wouldn't he look wonderful falling off an Arabian charger?
Poppy orders a planter's punch from the surly Russian expat bartender. A planter's punch is 2 ounces of rum, some tropical fruit, and other sweet stuff. Omar is pulled from the hunt as the commissioner and several other European men arrive. They are seated and Mother Jinsling is sent for. A shot is fired as the man who tried to pawn the gun tries to kill himself. A gong sounds and Mother Jinsling, Ona Munson, makes a bold entrance. She goes to the man, Boris, who tried to kill himself. She tells the dealer to give him $5,000 in credit and returns his gun. He kisses her hand. Mother slowly walks to the table where the commissioner and Omar are playing cards. After playing a few rounds of cards, the commissioner tells Mother that she will have to close down by the Chinese New Year because she is in the international district. They say she can set up again in the Chinese zone. Her landlord has already canceled the lease. The new owner is the Indochina Trading Company. She says she is going nowhere. After the messages are all delivered, the men's attention turned to Poppy. Mother goes to Poppy to introduce the Frenchman from the commissioner's group to her. Poppy and her escort offer Mother a drink, but she refuses. Then Poppy tries to insult Mother's name, who rattles off prostitution names and says even sometimes it can be Poppy.
Mother Jinsling, is your name Chinese or English?
Indeed, Jinsling is English. It's a nickname as common in this part of the world as the drink sold over the counter.
But why Jinsling? Why not whiskey soda?
There was a girl called Whiskey Soda, too. And another one called Miss Martini. And one called Scotch Highball, and another Benedictine. In other places, I might have been called Rose, or Violet, or Lily, or even Poppy.
Sting! Mother leaves. She tells her man to find out who Poppy really is. The Frenchman makes a fool of himself with Poppy. Poppy's real name is Victoria. At this point, Poppy sends her escort away and asks the Frenchman to introduce her to Omar. Dixie is shown sitting in a hallway, still waiting to be seen by Mother. The Frenchman brings Montgomery and Omar over, and they are introduced to Poppy. Montgomery says he has 5 wives and is looking for a 6th. When she mentions her name is Poppy, he explains that flower has caused a lot of trouble for his family. Omar interrupts for introductions. Omar charms Poppy with his knowledge of poetry. Omar sets the hook pretty deep in Poppy's gills as the other men leave. Omar is then summoned to Mother. Mother goes on the offensive. She quickly finds out that the man behind the pushout is Sir Guy Charteris, Walter Houston. She sends her agents out to find the dirt on Sir Guy. She even asks for a picture so she can see her enemy. Just then, Omar comes in with Dixie. Dixie announces that she is an ex-lover of Sir Guy. Very convenient. Mother takes Dixie away for a private talk. Dixie tells Mother that Sir Guy gave her the heave-ho when his grown daughter came back from finishing school in Switzerland. Dixie also says that he sometimes reaches for the ceiling with one hand for no reason. Mother snaps around. Mother then asks if his eyes are blue, and Dixie confirms that they are. You can tell that she is starting the scheme already. Later, Sir Guy is in his office, meeting with the Anglos who visited the casino about the takeover and development. The phone continues to ring despite repeated requests not to be disturbed. The call is identified as Mother Jin Sling. Sir Guy pulls the telephone wire from the wall and says he's sure he can break the local power as he dangles the wire in the air. Omar has gotten Poppy to start gambling, and she's a big winner. This is her first time gambling, and she says she can stop whenever she wants. Mother waits outside of Sir Guy's office to get a look at him. Sir Guy's car and all of the taxis are not available. He is forced to take a rickshaw pulled by large coolie Mike Mazurki. Mazurki has a shaved head and doesn't speak. Mother smiles with glee as she and Dixie look on. Back at the gambling wheel, Poppy's luck has turned bad. She loses all of the money she has won. Boris, the man with the gun, is always at the table when Poppy plays. He bets the opposite of her every time and wins most of the time. Omar convinces her to pawn her diamond necklace to keep gambling. Dixie comes in, showing off her newly acquired wealth, which she has earned from working for Mother. Mother begins planning a Chinese New Year's party. She makes a prestigious list of guests, including Sir Guy. A note is brought in, and Poppy is 50,000 maces in debt, which is about 1,000 pounds sterling. Mother goes down to interview Poppy for her references. Poppy refuses to give out any information, but Mother gives her 5,000 maces anyway. Boris is definitely working with Mother. Poppy loses that money and borrows 200 more to tip the croupier. Mother has wax dolls made of all the party guests. She plans to have Sir Guy at the opposite end of the table. Mother authorizes unlimited advances to Poppy. When Montgomery says to Mother that her battle plan may not work out as expected, Mother snaps the head off of one of the dolls. Poppy is still gambling and drinking. She looks rough. Omar is courting Dixie, which makes Poppy crazy with jealousy. Sir Guy and his secretary are going through the day's mail, and he has received the invitation to the party that Mother is hosting. He has no intention of going. A rock breaks the window and lands on the floor. Sir Guy goes outside and sees the coolie holding another rock. Sir Guy has the coolie brought up. He still won't speak. Sir Guy tells his secretary to have him locked up, but the coolie says something in Russian, and the secretary translates the meaning. No Chinese jail could hold him. Sir Guy is intrigued and decides to go to the party. By now, Poppy has turned into a sot. She is a complete mess and is making scenes in the casino.
Behave yourself, Poppy. You're in China and you're white. It's not good for us to see you like this. You'll bring discredit to your race if you continue. Don't preach to me!
Mother tells her that so far she has only lost paper, not real money. Poppy gets ready to leave the casino and says she will not be back. She goes to Omar's and beats on the door. He sits inside calmly reading the newspaper. She tries every trick to get inside. Finally, with her caterwauling in the hallway, he opens the door and takes her inside.
My ankle hurts! I hurt it!
Omar crushes her with his lack of interest. The next morning, Poppy is called to see her father, Sir Guy. He calls her Victoria. He says she is all he has, and he has tried to protect her. Sir Guy tries to get her to admit what has been going on with her, but she refuses to confess to anything. He informs her that he has chartered a plane to take her to Singapore and will meet her there as soon as he finishes up the business in Shanghai. Poppy argues with him about leaving, but he shows her necklace that a man sold to him earlier that morning. It's the one she sold in the casino. She relents, and we see the plane leave. On the evening of the Chinese New Year, there are parades and fireworks. As Sir Guy arrives at the casino, he asks the coolie if he likes the Chinese New Year, and the coolie answers yes. All of the best people in Shanghai are at the party, including the lady who really owns the building. Sir Guy comes in, and the party comes to a halt. Sir Guy then realizes that Omar works at the casino, as he is the man who sold him the necklace. He is happy to see Dixie again. The commissioner is there as well. The gong rings, and Mother comes in a hairdo that can be mistaken for Medusa. At Mother's side is the very old Amma, Maria Opinskaya. Amma is her nursemaid. They are told to take a seat where their wax figure is located. Sir Guy wonders why he is at the head of the table. Mother has the windows opened by the coolie. Women are being hoisted up in what Mother says is a mock representation of kidnapped girls to be sold into prostitution.
We're going to auction off the girls to the junkmen. Once in a while, they have to replenish their flower boats. You understand, of course, this is staged purely for the tourists.
The expressions on the girls' faces seem to indicate that this is for real. The coolie has taken the host position behind Sir Guy. Mother recounts how young girls were sold in that manner not so many years ago to flower boats. She says the Chinese New Year is a time to repay debts. Mother asks Sir Guy if he's been to China before. He says he has been in the north, and he asks Mother if she is from the north of China as well. She says she washed up on the shore of Shanghai and Montgomery helped her. Montgomery replies that her debt has been more than fully repaid. The two royals at the table get offended and start to leave. Mother orders them to sit down or she will reveal what happened in Rio 5 years prior.
I feel sick and I wish to go home. Sit down. You might become more ill if I should recall to your mind a little incident that took place in Rio 5 years ago.
The landlady starts braying like a jackass and then tries to leave. Mother orders her to sit.
Ah! Good gracious!
What is it, Lady Blessington? Someone has pinched you, I hope?
Oh, indeed not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 13 chairs. I'm going home. You must excuse me.
Sit down!
The doll with the broken head is for a young woman who is being sobered up. Sir Guy gets up and says, unlike the rest of the guests, she has nothing that can make him stay. She then calls him Mr. Dawson and says the dinner was given in his honor. He asks who she is, and Mother says, don't you recognize me?
Look at me. Is my face so changed you no longer know me, or do all Chinese girls look alike to you?
Mother claps her hands, and all of her servants leave except for the old Amma. Finally, Sir Guy has a look of recognition and says he can't know her because that girl is dead. Mother says yes, that girl is dead, and that Mother Ginsling stands in her place. She says Dawson stole silver from her. Sir Guy explains to the group that when he was in the north, he did not use his family name so that he could make it on his own. He said he married a Chinese girl. Mother then says she gave Dawson her father's wealth and they had a child together, but Dawson left her. She says that after Dawson was gone, his friends came and eventually she was sold to a flower boat. She tells how they were beaten and taken to new ports every week. They even sewed pebbles into the soles of their feet to keep her from running away. A gong sounds and the drunken Poppy/Victoria is brought out. For some reason, she is mad at her father. Mother is grinning like a possum eating a sweet tater. She calls out Omar and says she will kill him one day.
You know him, Dad? This is the poet laureate of Shanghai. Someday I'm going to kill him.
In a snit, Poppy announces to all that she owes Mother 20,000 pounds.
While we're on the subject of presents, Dad, I owe Lady Shylock over there 20,000 English pounds.
Sir Guy tries to take Poppy home. She's being a jackass. The maids come back in with towels and coats. Sir Guy and Poppy begin to head out, but they stop, and Sir Guy tells the commissioner to come by in the morning for a 20,000 pound check stating that the allegedly stolen funds are and have been in the North China Bank in Mother's real name.
When you come to my office in the morning and pick up a check for 20,000 pounds, bring it to her. And tell her the funds she claims I took are and always have been in the North China Bank in her name in Tianjin.
Poppy is having a meltdown and wants to go back inside. Sir Guy manages to finally get her out of the casino. Out on the street, Poppy slips away from her father. He goes back inside to look for her. The coolie is waiting by the door. Mother confronts Sir Guy when he arrives and says Poppy's blood is no good, which makes her evil. Sir Guy tells her that Poppy is their daughter and that anything wrong with Poppy comes from her.
She had no more control than her father had. She had no more honor than he had. Her blood is no good.
Her blood isn't bad unless yours is bad. Her emotions aren't cheap unless your emotions are cheap. She's not my daughter. She's our daughter.
He then tells her that after Mother went missing, their child was saved. Sir Guy said he came back, took her, raised their daughter without ever telling her about China. The old Amma nods that the story is true. Mother then says she should be the one to deal with Poppy. Poppy has Dixie and Omar in a room shouting at the two about their alleged love affair. Poppy then pulls a small gun from her purse and aims at Dixie. Omar jumps her and gets the gun away. He slides it to the end of the table where Mother has just walked in. She tells Poppy that she is her mother.
I've just been informed that I'm your mother.
What are you talking about?
Mother sends Dixie and Omar away. Poppy starts raging at Mother, and Mother shoots her down. And Mother tells Montgomery that this time they will not be able to bribe the police. Outside, the coolie asks Sir Guy if he likes the Chinese New Year. The movie ends with an overhead shot of the casino hall in full swing. Conclusion. Based on a John Colton play, this script struggled to get produced on stage and faced similar challenges when being made into a movie. It appears that there were over 30 attempts to adapt this story into a film, including one by Cecil B. DeMille. The story made it to Broadway in February 1926 and ran for 206 performances. Set in a brothel run by Mother Goddamn, this story deals with sex trafficking, drug addiction, and nymphomania. Both the Hayes office and the Chinese consulate resisted the filming. This was the last major film finished by director Joseph von Sternberg, as he was fired from his next two films, film Norma Cow 1952 and Jet Pilot 1957. In this film, von Sternberg made some interesting casting choices, first offering the role of Mother Jinsling to Gloria Swanson and then to Anna May Wong. Oh, what could have been. When Swanson and Wong passed on the role, von Sternberg convinced Ona Munson that she could handle the role despite being an American. Werewolf Mother, Maria Openskaya, was cast as a Chinese associate of Mother. Test audiences reacted with laughter at Openskaya's thick Russian accent, attempting in English to imitate a Chinese person speaking English. All her dialogue was removed. Finally, the Hayes office ordered over 30 cuts before they would approve the movie. World famous short summary: if Mother ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. I ain't saying it's right, but I know why she shot her. If you enjoyed the show and want more, please give me a like, subscribe, or comment. It really helps the show get found. Beware the Moors. Alright, in the seconds, a couple of boxes are going to pop up here. One is a similar film review to today's film review, and another is a playlist of similar film reviews.